Make sure you watch until the end to see how you can win free gear and products. Hey guys, PJ here with CLKsupplies, and I have Tanner with me, also known as Kid Lock.
Hello.
Now, in our last live video that we did, one of the questions was about impressioning, and Tanner happened to bring up the knifing technique for impressioning, which is something that, I mean, we've done for years, right?
Yeah.
But I figured, you know, we'd bring you on. I mean, you are kind of like self-described ninja when it comes to impressioning, or
luck or skill. I don't know what it is, but I like doing it.
Okay, I mean, I don't want to talk out of term now.
Yeah. I just found like this technique, I think, really helped me, and that's all I use now. This is the only technique I use.
Okay.
Auto, you know, cam locks, you name it. You know, I haven't really done like an SC1 or a KW1 like house locks, but just, you know, little cam locks.
Yeah, stuff you would
perfect.
Actually impression.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, before we get going, so I'm gonna have you take them step by step on how to do that. But I want to first talk for a couple minutes about if someone struggles with impressioning, or if they're just getting started. Let's kind of talk about what else you should know about going into it, right? Because I think it's easy to want to grab a key blank really quick. You're going out there, but you don't really think of how many spaces or how many depths are possible. And
right.
Come on, you and I know, because together we've seen keys that were trying to be impression. It's like, listen, this key doesn't have 10 cuts in it. Okay, it's a 4 cut.
It's a little yeah.
There's a 4 space.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. You know, your step one is to figure out, you know, what blade you need, what key blank you need, you know, and make sure, you know, goes all the way in lock, but is it long enough? Best technique, we didn't bring any picks up here, but, you know, stick your pick in there, rake the lock, see if you can count the number of wafers or number of pins to start off with, so you know you don't need an L54G or a, you know, a 6-pin Y11 or whatever you want to call it. You're just going to run your 5-pin.
That's great. So guys, so if you're struggling with impressioning, or you're new to impressioning, take a rake pick, okay? Take something, I mean, a little scope, I mean, whatever you like to use, and see if you can't feel how many wafers or pins are actually in there, because that's going to make sure, you know, like I said, you don't, I mean, and all of us, I've done it too, right? Like, it's like a Y11, you know, and I have 6 spaces on there.
right. We've all done it.
You know, and you're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's going to happen.
So try to get as much information as you can. Something else you want to kind of think about on a lock like this, right? Like, there's not 7, 8 depths here, okay? There's maybe 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're doing that, you want to also think of, when you're making your file lane marks and as you're going through it, how many depths do you think there are possible, right?
Yes.
Because you don't want to like take off half the key right away, right? So you want to keep that in mind as well.
Yep. Just taking, you know, even strokes forward. I just go forward. I don't go back and forth. I'll go forward. Another thing, I don't know if we can get off subject, but if you're doing auto, if you're doing an H51 or an H50 on a Ford, or your old B1s or RA4s or something like that, you want to make sure that if you're doing a double-sided key, of course, the H50, H51 on the Fords, you want to know which side the pins are on. You put your rake in there, feel if they're on top or bottom. You start putting a blank in there and you're not getting any marks, and you pull it out, you're not getting any marks, and then you realize you had really beautiful marks on the bottom of the key.
On the bottom. So, you know, I mean, is it okay to confess like that you and I have actually done stuff like that?
Oh
before,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. I've gone out and rekeyed a house and rekeyed it back up their existing key without knowing, and the chances of that are just ridiculous.
you know, back in the day, I was the one who actually went and
rekeyed it.
Yeah, rekeyed it again, right?
Because they're like, something's got to be wrong.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Well, you know, so one other thing I want to talk about is if they're new or struggling with impressioning, what is a good lock to practice on?
This just a cam lock, just a regular. This is just a 5/8 cam lock. This thing came off of, I believe, a toolbox. It's got a little dust cover on it. Start off with just your wafer cam lock. Start off with your wafers. Then you can kind of start moving up to your pin locks, your mailbox locks and stuff like that. But I would just start with just a single, just an everyday cam lock, five wafer if you can. And you know, just get your key, prep your key, and we'll start all doing that here.
Okay, awesome. So you're going with like a Y11, like a cam lock,
yeah,
something that, I mean, has kind of not very tight tolerances. Something that's, you know, it's really good if you just take the time, sit down with a cam lock or two, and really learn how to do it, right? Get a little bit of confidence. I mean, I think confidence also comes into impression in a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
You gotta have confidence.
Yeah, you do have to.
And if you don't, it'll just build a time. After you get it, it's a good feeling. You're like, I just made a key with a file and a pair of pliers and a blank. It's a good feeling. And then once you go out in the field and people are like, whoa, man, you just did that with the file just out. Yeah. I mean, it's cool. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, it is. So awesome. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and get started. So step number 1 when you're going to knife, and what do you mean by when we say knifing?
When knifing, I'm literally gonna take the top of the key, the blade of the key, and I'm gonna knife it. Right now, it's flat. Of course, flat and blunt on the top. I'm gonna knife it on both sides, just following without taking any height off the top of the key. I'm gonna go to the side.
It's very important.
Angle. You don't want to take any height off. If you have ones in there, if there's zeros or whatever it's keyed to, you start taking height off, you're just gonna start busting keys. You're not gonna get it, or you're gonna bend a wafer in there, and then you're like, yeah, I can't file a key. Well, there's a wafer bent in there. These wafers are so thin, they'll bend if you put too much pressure on them.
Yeah.
But just you got a blunt on the top of the blade. I'll go ahead and I'll prep it into my nice, vice grips, locking vice grips with some nice good teeth so your key isn't rocking on your pliers.
Yep.
Tighten it down pretty good because you don't want it. You want it nice and tight. You don't want it rocking and scarring it all up.
And they could also use the, impressioning. They actually, make those impressioning things that make it not hard. But if you don't have one of those, you can use a pair of, locking pliers for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can either start with your flat file, which I usually do. We'll show you a different step maybe a little later. How I start with a bench grinder, because I'm always pressed for time. I'm more efficient if I just use my bench grinder. I grind it nice and evenly on both sides, and then I'll clean it up with a nice fine flat file, and then I'll continue with my pippin file or my impression file. Yep. So basically, I kind of get it on the edge, and I start, with the key at an angle, and I'll just start flying one direction. I don't come back down because it's going to start taking your height off the top of your key. But I just kind of start knifing it, and just make sure when you see the lines that you're not going at an angle. You're not taking more off the shoulder than you're taking off the tip. You want it nice and even all the way through. And I mean, I'm putting pretty good pressure on this. This is a real light, fine file, so it ain't gonna take a lot off at a time. But I'm about halfway on that side. I will flip it over to the other side, the blunt side here, and I'll go backwards because it's kind of weird feeling. And I'll just take a little more off a bit. And it's just, I use a flat file because it just takes it off more evenly than taking the pippin file. And you don't really want to hit your shoulder. You want to stay away from your shoulder. You start taking that filing the shoulder off, your key's going to go in there too far. It's gonna not sit right in the cam lock or whatever lock you're talking with. But we should be getting fairly close. I'll do a little more on this side here. And we're pretty sharp. It's nice and even all the way across it. I don't know what I'm doing to PJ's bench here. I should have put some rubber down.
I know, right? What? Yeah. I mean, come on.
It looks like there's only damage to this table, but so then I'll just take my pippin file and I'll run over it again, nice and smooth. But I'm not actually filing I'm going more of a sideways away from me motion. Kind of just cleaning it up a little more.
Like just trying to get it kind of more, like, for lack of a better term, shiny.
Yeah.
Is that
shiny?
Getting all like the lines kind of in one direction.
Yep, all in one direction, so you aren't looking down there and being like, I don't know if that's a mark. I don't know if that's from my file. I don't know what I did, but it's fairly sharp right now. It probably cut a chunk out of the desk here if we wanted to go, but it's prepped. It's ready to go. I'll look down it and make sure I don't have any nicks or anything that's going to give me a false mark. I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Now, before we dive in here, go a little further. The point of knifing is to...
The point of knifing is you get your wafers. Mm-hmm. Your key goes in there. I always just thought, okay, well, instead of having that big flat part on the top of my key where that wafer is trying to scratch on the top and make me a nice line, I go for knifing because it's so thin up at the top now, it's kind of more gonna cut into the key instead of just giving me a mark. I'm trying to see, is that a mark or is that a shadow? It's actually going to give me, it should give me some nice good valleys, and it'll give me my spacing right off the bat also. The technique I'll go with this impression is I'll put the key in, I'll rock it up with just a little bit of pressure. You don't want to really use your whole hand on it because it's too much pressure and you're going to snap the key once you start filing it down. But
Okay.
yeah, it's just the knifing technique. I think the wafers just actually you're on a peak, I guess
Yes.
is what you're going to call it, and it's gonna give you a lot more.
Yeah, it's gonna kind of take a little of the guessing out of what the mark looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of allows you to get down to business a little faster.
Faster. Once you get down past your knifing area, you're kind of still more going for your normal impression marks, but this gives you a really good start to where you all need to be on your spacing.
Yep. Okay, so we have the knife, we have the key ready. Here, you know what? We'll cut to you knifing here real quick, or on the grinder.
Okay.
So this is what it looks like, right? When you're hitting one side,
Yeah.
you're hitting the other, and you're just definitely making sure you're not hitting the top of the key, like where the cuts actually go, because that's gonna really throw. It's gonna make all your work for nothing.
Taking height off of it, you don't want to do. You want to leave your key as high as it can.
Okay, so those are the two ways you can prep the key.
Yep.
Let's get into actually impressioning.
We got a regular cam lock. Put double nuts on here. This is just a standard Keydex plate. It's got the Ford, Chrysler, Toyota, Datsun, and then the inside is for the cam lock. Makes it a little easier. You can put it in a vise, or you can just do it by hand. PJ was just going to make me hold the lock in my hand myself, but so then I just put the key in. I make sure the key goes all the way in. I'm completely bottomed out. I'm not out. You know, my shoulders are bottomed out and ready to go. It's easier when you have the lock in your hand. You can kind of see what direction your cam is actually going to go. This one is going to go clockwise when I'm trying to give it pressure. Just depends on what kind of lock you're using. Sometimes they'll go either way. You know, to the right, to the left. 180, 90 degrees, just doesn't matter. But we're just going to go to the right, and I'm just going to give it a quick rock up and down.
Okay.
Go back to neutral.
And so when you're doing that, you're putting pressure as if you're trying to turn the key.
Yeah.
And applying up and down. Now, why is it important to go up and down?
Well, when I go up, when I rock up on the pliers here, I'm getting more the cuts on the tip of the key. When I go down, I'm getting more marks on the back towards the shoulder. So it just kind of gives me, some people just go in there and just go rocking. You can, it's just all about the technique that you get used to and what works for you. I used to do the rock until I was talking to PJ, and he's like, hey, try this. And so I just rock up with a little bit of pressure with just my fingers. I give it, you're binding those wafers inside the housing, you're gonna bind them, and they're going to start rubbing on the top of that key. So I just go back to neutral. I go down in the down motion, go back to neutral, and
so you're going up a couple times.
I go up.
Then you're going down a couple times, and then you're going to bring it out now.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important on your first step here. You know, this is your first shot at it. You have the key prepped. You put it in there.
Yeah.
Get some pressure on it. Go up a couple times, and I mean, you're not trying to break the key off.
No.
But at the same time, you're giving it, you know, a little bit of pressure.
A little bit of pressure.
Right?
A little bit of binding pressure, I guess
binding.
is what you would call
Yep.
it. Yeah, it's just a little binding pressure. You know, these keys aren't tough. You go out there and extract these keys all the time. There's not much to them. So they'll break really easy. Sometimes we've gone through, I mean, even Kid Lock breaks some keys once in a while.
Even Kid Lock does.
But
now let me go ahead and let me take a picture of this, and we'll
Okay.
All right, yep. So you see your marks there, and then you're going to do your first.
Definitely have some marks, so I'm going to start at the shoulder. I don't really think it matters where you're going to start, but definitely see the marks, and I kind of rock it back and forth. And it's got, I mean, if you ran your pinky along it, I got some nails, but my nail actually sticks in each one of the dents that it just made.
It does. Yeah, it's very like in the picture that they're looking at right now. I mean, you can see those bumps in there.
Yeah.
Which is a great way to start, right?
Right. So then we're just, I mean, one of the shoulder looks pretty crazy, so I'm just going to give it a quick, just real light.
Okay.
I can see where they're all at, so I'm just going to go ahead and just hit them once.
And just we kind of like mark them is what you're doing.
Mark them. Yep. And so I basically, you know, have all my spacing right now. This is a, you know, it's a 5-cut key.
Yep.
So we started off, I always go light on the first round.
Yep, so this is the second time in now.
Second time in now.
And are you doing anything different than the first?
No, I'm gonna do the exact same thing as we did to start it.
Okay, so the same, you're gonna
go in there.
Binding pressure.
Go
up a couple times.
So 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
And then I go down, 1, 2, 3. And then I'll do it again. I'll go 1, 2, 3, up. 1, 2, 3.
And you're resetting it between when you do it, right?
Yeah, I
so
reset it. I go back to its neutral position, just like
Yep.
you're going to pull the key out. And then go back to your 1, 2, and I think we're...
It's already getting a little loose on you?
Yeah. I don't know. It could be just luck.
Let's see. Here, let me take a quick picture of that. Put it up on the screen. So that way they're able to kind of see it live.
So I'm old, but we should need our glasses on this one. First cut looks good. Looks like definitely that one. We're going for the 2 on the tip. And we're gonna start again. I just go a little at a time.
Okay.
At that time I just did one pass on just a couple locks. 1, 2, 3.
And how's it feeling? Like, I mean, we
Back
talked
to
about,
neutral.
you know, when you tried it just a second ago while you're doing this next time,
So-
you could feel it's getting a little loose.
It's getting a little more sloppy.
Okay. Which means you should be getting closer.
Yeah, one or two is definitely getting close to where it should be. Rock 1, 2, 3. Come back to neutral. I don't know if the whole lock is. Yeah, I think the whole lock is spinning on here. I don't have the nuts really tight on it. 1, 2, 3. Back to neutral. 1, 2, 3. Back to neutral. Is this number 4? Okay. Got some pretty good marks. I'm always wiping it off because, you know, you got little shavings in there. You're running brass and so I'm always wiping it off on my shirt or my fingers. And this is going to be the 3rd time now. Got some marks there on the second spot. So I'm going to go a little deeper on that one because I know it's probably not a 1. I'm going to go deeper on that one. That one's pretty light. So when you see it where it could be a mark or not, just real lightly, I'm just using just the weight of the file to just clean it up. You're just going to take that little scar off there.
Yeah, you're almost just doing enough to get rid of it to see if you're going to see it next time.
Get rid of that whatever you think you saw.
Yep.
Just really light. Okay. Go back in there.
So we're doing the same thing.
Yep, I'm gonna go do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, neutral. And I'm gonna go a couple more times this time. And
can you do it too much? Can you?
I think wiggling back and forth too much, I think it's just gonna weaken up the brass. You're just gonna snap the key in there.
Okay.
Back and forth. It just really starts weakening out the key.
Okay.
You know, we should be able to get it. I don't know if you want. We're getting some good marks in there. I don't know if your camera pick it up.
Oh yeah, look at those things, man. Those are the marks you want to see right there.
Those are the marks.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, definitely that 4th one. Second one is definitely giving us some action.
Now, when you get nice big old marks like that, do you feel a little more confident about going a little deeper?
Take a little more meat off.
Okay, get that meat off.
Take a little more meat off. If it's giving you a serious mark, you might as well go down. You know, what I do 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 swipes with the file, and I just keep rocking it back and forth. Just depends on what kind of light. Some of the light is way easier to impression. I think, you know, regular daylight is the best. If you got daylight and I do it in the van, I'll bring my bench right over to my door. I'll stand and do it with the daylight hitting it. You get a little better marks.
Okay.
So, you know, people are like, man, that's a cam lock. You probably should have had it by now. But
well, hey, we're explaining.
4.
We're explaining the process here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I mean, for all you know, I booby trapped that somehow, right? So it's impossible.
It would be funny. Okay.
Okay, so we pull that back out. Let's see what kind of marks we got.
Let's see. I don't know if...
Yep. And from what you're seeing, I mean, what are you seeing? Big marks like last time, or are those big marks kind of gone? You're seeing more faint?
They're still they're still shining pretty good.
Okay.
They're actually shining pretty good. I'm just gonna take a little more off of those two. Yeah, didn't really even have to clean up the other ones. I think they're pretty much done marking, but you never know. And my dust cover, there we go. So we're gonna do the same technique. 1, 2, 3.
Looks like it's getting close there.
It's getting closer. The whole lock is spinning inside this.
So at that point, I mean, you've already taken quite a bit off of them, but I mean, when you look at the key, you haven't really went very deep yet.
No,
like you're not like over committed to any of them.
I'm not.
Which is something, it's kind of like a haircut, right? Like when you take it off, you can't say, "Hey, can you add an inch back?" Right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of a slow process.
So you have to kind of be stingy,
nice and easy,
right? You have to be a little stingy with that.
Yeah, you could just, but man, you go too low, and then you got to start all over again. We're not racing anybody, we should be. I mean, we might be close, we might not be. I mean, I'm definitely not very deep on this key. Yeah. Seen those? So they must be a really deep cut. It's not really hitting any of the others.
Yeah. Which, I mean, does that ever make you... I've found that quite a bit when I've impressioned. Sometimes I'm like, man, it's like, why does this one spot keep...
Just keep going.
Yeah,
going.
Right?
Like, man, I'm deep, and then it turns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of get the tendency when I keep seeing that one mark in the same spot, I want to really just start taking it off. Right?
Right. I think we'll definitely be going deeper. I don't know how much time we have for this video, but I put the key in there and I give it a little wiggle, and it actually turned. If you want, just leave it turned in that position, and if it's a lock that doesn't have the key retaining and it can come out in that position, go ahead and take it out in that position. Once you have it turned, take it out. Now you should see some pretty good marks since it turned. So we'll just kind of clean that one up.
And then at this point, you're not going very much at all, right? Like you just want to just give it a little at a time, because...
And she turned, so...
Yes,
you're just kind of fine tuning it, as I would call it.
Yes.
And we never even mentioned, but I hardly ever use... I'm usually only using maybe an inch tip of the file. You don't really want to go... If you're doing forwards, you might use a little technique where you kind of want to widen your cuts a little more. But on these little wafer locks, there's not a lot of spacing on them, so I'm just kind of cleaning them up.
Okay, yeah. Now, and we can see how that's going. But I'm curious. So before you put it in there and went, like, you were kind of being like, man, how much longer? Where am I at on this thing, right?
Yeah.
And then it turned.
Boom.
So sometimes you can really feel it. Like, you kind of had a suspicion after your first couple times here that okay, it seems like we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
And then it kind of stalled out on you.
Yeah, I thought, oh boy, we're probably gonna have to go a lot deeper on that.
Yep. And then you did, and next thing you know, you put it back in and it's turning.
So let's see what she does now. So it'd be in the locked position, and now it's turning pretty smooth. So once the key turns, you're done. Go ahead and take your pliers off of it. Put them back in the lock and see how it turns with just your finger. And I always think, would my grandma or great aunt be able to turn that with her fingers? And that's what you want. You want it just very.
That's like butter.
Very. Yeah.
That's good.
Just no jiggling, no wiggling. Should be able to maybe just to turn it with a finger.
Yep.
Without any pressure, and it's super smooth. So I'll work it back and forth, because you never know. You might be just taking a little bit of brass off the top of one of those wafers. Your key might be turning beautiful, but you might even be able to get it turn a little more beautiful. I feel a little bit of tension somewhere in there. So I mean, it's
looks
maybe
good.
off. You might get it marked somewhere completely different now that you have it turning, and
yeah, they can kind of come out of nowhere too, huh? Like
Yeah.
you won't really see anything in a space, and then all of a sudden, it's there.
gosh, I think we have it.
I think you got it.
I'll just clean her up just to.
Well, yeah, guys, I really hope that this technique helps you. I'd love to know in the comments. Let Tanner know. I mean, he reads them.
Yes.
He'll be watching.
Yes.
And let him know if you've tried it, had success. I think it's great. So, I typically only go to knifing when I've already tried and I can't get it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And
when you're running out of blanks.
yeah, when I'm running out of blanks, right? That's when I'd switch, and I'm like, okay, I need to get started off on the right foot here.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hopefully this technique helps you guys. It'll help you guys build that confidence, build what those marks look like while you're impressioning.
Yep.
And Tanner, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
coming on here and doing this.
You're welcome. That was fun, and it worked, and it's made me feel good. I got goosebumps. I'm gonna go home and have a taco.
Yeah, hey, there you go. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please let us know in the comments below your thoughts and if this technique's helped you at all, what you think of it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Since you just watched this video, I'm guessing that you work with locks and keys. And to us at CLK Supplies, that makes you a lock boss. And we want to hook you up. Here's how it works. Throughout the week, join the conversation and comment on our posts and videos and include the hashtag LockBoss. It's free to enter this giveaway. And every Tuesday, we're going to pick 5 winners from the previous week and hook you up with all sorts of prizes, including gear, tools, supplies. We might even send you a key machine or buy you lunch. So if you're a lock boss, join us every week to learn, grow, and win.